I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
To the 2020 Southeast Gassers Association race taking place here today at the Carolina Dragway in Aiken, South Carolina. Third time here, Rocky Platt, and while I may take this opportunity to give you an intro to the guys, ladies and gentlemen at home may not know you, this is Rocky Platt, son of the famed Houston Platt of the Dixie Twist. Rocky, what a pleasure to have you up here with us, not only doing this intro, but all the things that you do to support and keep the Southeast Gassers Association moving.
Hey, Mitch, I'm proud to be here, man. We got a sunshiny day, Aiken, South Carolina. You can't beat this. We had rain the last 2 years, and then we got sunshine, and we are blessed for it, and I'm glad to be here at the Southeast Gassers.
Should be an extremely well-attended event.
Oh, it will be. It will be. It'll be exciting. Could be some fast times today, turn with this weather the way it is. It's going to be some quick cars today.
Well, you know, this place is called the House of Hook, Rocky, and that means one thing for gassers: wheel stands, and wild, hairy rides.
Excitement. That's what it means, excitement.
And the next thing is a gentleman by the name of Rob Bivens. Rob Bivens is a gentleman from, actually originally from Georgia, but spent most of his life upstate New York. He is the one that's really kind of responsible in a roundabout way for Quayne and I's sound beginnings in the professional ranks. And Rob's here visiting with us today. Rob Bivens, welcome, buddy. I'm glad you're still with us, can come out and enjoy these races. What an honor it is to have you here. Rocky, you know, Superstock is in the staging lanes behind us. They're getting ready to go. I think we get out of the way and let them have at it. What do you say?
Let's go racing, brother.
Superstock round number one here, coming to you from the House of Hook in Aiken, South Carolina, brought to you by Hoosier Racing Tire. There you get a glimpse of our Superstock points right now, and there's a two-way tie right there for second place with Rick Varner and Robert Pepley. Mark Hackett sitting out front as he has been there all year. First pair down the racetrack going to be the number 6 qualifier, Johnny Royals. He comes to us out of Griffin, Georgia, and he's going to be racing Bobby Frizzell out of Ivor, South Carolina, in that big Galaxy.
Bobby hadn't been with us much this year, David, but he's glad to see him back on the racetrack. He's had a few problems along the way, even including some flooding problems, I think it was, in his race car shop. Something along those lines, but I tell you what, Johnny Royal just ended his day early, and now we've got Robert Pepley.
Yep, Robert Pepley going to be in there in the 4-speed Stampede, but he's driving his dad's car because he's having some problems out of that Stampede. Going to be taking on the youngster Tyler York out of Ohio, driving the car owned by Rick Varner that he calls Grumpy.
Third generation York drag racer, the son of T.J. York. Let's see if Tyler is as deadly as T.J. I don't think it's going to happen up against Robert Pepley, even though Robert's in his dad's car.
Yeah, too much big block power right there. As you see Todd Poteet bringing it in right here, and he's going to face the number 3 qualifier out of Dallas, North Carolina. That is none other than Dale Morton, the wino. He calls himself in the car, the 57 Ford, he calls Lucille.
You know, he has really got that car running this year, David. A lot of horsepower under the hood, as evidence right there. That car up and away, very strong based on past year's performances.
It is, and he's going to have to be very strong if he's going to go up against this formidable group of Rick Varners. And this is Chris Alston driving Rick Varner's other car right here. Varner got 3 cars in competition in the Superstock division, taking on Zach Long out of Leesville, South Carolina.
3 cars in Superstock and 1 in V-Gas, David. And I tell you, that particular Chevrolet putting a Plymouth on the trail.
All right, Ben Rivers in the left-hand lane there out of the Atlanta, Georgia area in the Snake Doctor, that Corvette. He's going to be racing Rick Cathcart right here in that little Falcon Futura out of Dandridge, Tennessee. There you see officials looking underneath the car of Cathcart's. Looks like,
him off. Yes,
looks like we got the
him out.
Competition single right here for Ben Rivers. As as he will move to round number 2. Unfortunate for Cathcart right there, as he is in the thick of this points battle. A hometown guy right here, Houston Neese. We're right here in his backyard in Aiken, South Carolina at the House of Hook. He's going to take that 2-bit racing 4-door Chevy 2 and put it up against Kyle Bowenkemper. Looks like Bowenkemper pulling that big Biscayne away down there at the top end.
That was a good drag race on the hit, but I tell you, on top end, Bowenkemper pulled her out about a car. And David, there is the current points leader Mark Hackett on a competition single.
There's just 3 races left after this one, buddy. Where are you thinking? How do you feel at this point?
Well, you know, we have to feel good, obviously, with everything you just mentioned, everything that's happened. Blew a motor, like you said, just lucky enough to have great friends to loan us a car to get through a race that day, scrambled to get a car back together. So it's really been a lot of ups and downs. It's not been emotional at this point. It's just been, you know, you got to focus, and it really shows you the value of trying to run for a championship, win or lose. I mean, if it was, like the saying goes, if it was easy, everybody would do it, and it's not easy, and so that's why.
And there is our number 1 qualifier, Rick Varner, as we mentioned before, the dirt man out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, in his 63 Biscayne. And he gets a bye run by virtue of being the number 1 qualifier here at Superstock today. As we move on into C-Gas round number 1, brought to you by Molly Motorsports. Molly Motorsports, give them a check out on their website. Look at that competition right there, 3 through 6 right there, knotted up at 170 points apiece. George Miller still sitting on top, followed by Todd Oak. Our number 1 qualifier here in C-Gas today, that is Larry Floyd driving the Stud Muffin, car that won the 19 World Championship in C-Gas, and he's going to take a leisurely stroll down the racetrack. Bringing up the next 2 pair right here, George Miller, the guy who's leading our points currently in that Falcon Crazy. He'll be in the right lane. And Ernie Smith out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, in Paula's Nightmare, will be over in the left lane, Mitch.
That it is, David. You know, this is a good Ford Chevrolet battle. Certainly now that Ernie has a Chevrolet motor back under the hood of that Chevy 2. Last year when he come out, had a Ford motor, no great success with it. Let's see what he can do with the Chevrolet this year. But I tell you, he's got one tough opponent. Obviously, the points leader by a healthy margin in George Miller. So let's see what happens. My money, David, is on George Miller, especially with that kind of a launch.
Look at that launch. That's just picture perfect right there. And he streaks away to the victory here in first round. Looks like he's being brought over to you, Mitch, for your
George Miller, my friend, you know, I have to say this is a first that I have interviewed a round winner when he was having to be carried back to the pit by one of his competitors.
It's not what you want to see, but we appreciate the help from these guys. Yeah, I don't know, shut down halfway down the track, so I'm afraid that that motor's running its last run for the year. But luckily, we got a backup sitting in the back of the side-by-side. We picked up this round, so we're going.
Well, I think you might better go to get to work real fast.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to get her home tonight and get to work. So
you're saying that you're out for the day. You're not going to attempt to get a new motor in?
No, we're done for the night.
Well, there you see it, right from the horse's mouth. Next pair up going to be Cynthia Phillips, a car that has just exponentially gotten better this year, as she has with her driving as well. The flower-powered 56 Chevy going to be in the right lane, and Dana Casto in the quick draw will be here in the left lane out of West Virginia.
You know, David, tough deal on that for George Miller over there. You know, it's a good thing he has that comfortable points lead, but you still don't want to give up anything when you can't defend yourself. A pretty good loss. Looked like Dana may have had a little bit of an advantage on Cynthia, but to no avail.
Cynthia Phillips, it has been quite a day for you and the Flower Power team. You might have gotten cheated out of the number 1 qualifying spot, but number 2 in C-Gas and winning first round. Not a bad day so far.
Great day for me. Qualifying second, I don't think I've ever done that.
So you can say the old Flower Power just running the strongest just ran forever.
Yes, if driver can do what she needs to do.
Well, you know, late rounds is not, you're not a stranger to the late rounds anymore, Cynthia, so there is a lot of expected of you, of course.
Yeah, that's what bothers me.
And you've got one big fan, Rob Bevins here. You know, he's kind of waiting to see you do good.
I know he is. He's putting more stress on me.
The stress of running for a championship, you heard Mark Hackett talk about it a little bit earlier, and Cynthia Phillips feeling some of that as well. The odd rod, Kevin Shaw out of Lebanon, Tennessee, going to take on Tennessee Charlie Lee Jr. there in the Mustang that is in the right lane. And look at that Mustang make up the ground that he lost on the starting line. Charlie Lee moves on to the next round as we get ready for Rod Bergner in the Undertaker. Good to see him back out here in that 55. He's going to be taking on Tim Hall, so that's going to be no small order for him.
David, that's another one, Rod, you know, that hadn't ran all the races this year, but with a very good reason. The man uprooted from Texas and moved to North Carolina, Tennessee area to be closer to the Sega competition. But right now, it looks like he might better move to another zip code because Tim
Never
Hall
haven't gave a competitor a ride back to the. But hey, we all buddies out here. We love each other, love racing with each other, and do anything to help each other. That's it.
Exactly right. You hear those words from Tim Hall as we continue.
Talking about giving old George Miller a ride back there, Dave.
As we continue on here in C Gas, and there is the hometown man, the 2017 world champion, Larry Noel in the Crazy Horse. He's going to be matched up alongside the Maverick there in the right lane.
That Rick out of Canada. I tell you what, you know, this guy has more fun at a drag strip than anybody out here, and I know that's saying a lot because a lot of our racers have a great time, but now old Rick, buddy, I'm here to tell you, that dude is smiling all the time.
Looks like he turned on the big red light right there as Rick Taylor knew he had to be on his P's and Q's if he was going to try to give that Crazy Horse a run, but the Crazy Horse stretches him legs out. And there we got Ted McKee right there. I'm sorry, lost my train of thought for a moment. Ted McKee with that full power underneath the hood in the left lane. He's out of Bluff City, Tennessee.
This old Snow White Chevy too he's in over there, David. You know, back years ago, Gene Fulton ran an incredibly menacing Snow White Chevy 2 wagon and modified. But right now, he's up against Jimmy Huff in a Ford wagon, and he's turning on the red light. Easy win for Jimmy Huff.
Well, Jimmy Huff needs that win. Good straight run for Jimmy Huff right there.
I understand down there in that Gabriel's pit area, there's a big wig down there.
Yep, sure is. John Causey.
Are you listening to what he has to say?
Yeah, I actually stood on the sideline with him, watched the whole A-Gas race, and talked to him.
I would suggest he's like one of them bike guys. When he speaks, you should listen. Good job, Jimmy. We'll see you in the next round.
Yes, sir.
All right, there's Bill Wilson out of Gaffney, South Carolina in the under new management Troublemaker, the 49 Studebaker truck. Man, that truck really has picked up its performance this year, later in this year. Bill been working very hard to get that thing worked out. He's going to be taking on Steve Bright out of North Charleston, South Carolina in the beautiful Carolina Flash Barracuda that sits over in the right lane.
You know, David, he bought that truck Bill did from Rick Cathcart, and it was named the Troublemaker. He couldn't have come up with a better thing under new management. I still think that's just the coolest one out there. And here we go, the CUDA out front, but now here comes the Troublemaker back around.
What a great race right there. What
Billy Wilson, buddy, I'm going to say that this thing being under new management, it is running better than it ever has. Congratulations. I hear that he left on you, but you just drove back around it.
Yes, sir. We got a new engine under the hood, and it seemed like we run a little better.
I think it's a little better than seem. I think it's actuality.
It's running a lot better.
Good job, Billy. We'll look for you in the second round.
All right, next pair up, there is the big double X Todd Oden out of Birmingham, Alabama. He's going to be taking on Herman Gehring in the second chance right there out of Mooresville, South Carolina. The Herminator, as you see right there on the side, Herman doing a great job putting that race car together.
I don't know what kind of power the Herminator got, but he's up beside King Kong. He better have something, and I don't believe he's got enough, David.
Not enough in this round as Todd Oden, you see him here streaking away.
Welcome back to Winning Rounds. You know, it's always good to talk to old King Kong. First round out of the way.
Hey, it's so good to be interviewed again. It's been so long I forgot what to say, Mitch.
I was going to say you forgot my name, didn't you?
Lord, I'm telling you, hey, it's good to be back winning. I mean, it's good. After the week we've had with all the crazy stuff, I'm just so happy to be talking to you.
I seen you put a new engine in. That didn't work out. You had to put the old one back in. Hey, buddy, you know what they say. The fruits of labor sooner or later will pay off.
I believe in it. Hard work. The guys at shop, they've been banging, and we appreciate it.
And there is Josh Pruitt out of Edmond, South Carolina in that young blood, the 63 Ford Fairlane. He's going to take on Jenny Moses in the Scream Machine out of Brazelton, Georgia, that beautiful 1955 Chevy that she possesses. See a good shot of it right there in that Paul Vanderpool paint job on that car.
You know, David, she does backup girl and driving. That Jenny, she is an active lady, I gotta tell you. I had her in the credits coming on here, kind of like a Superman, you know, changing from this dress to that dress. You know, her and her husband JT, they have been enormous supporters of the Sega, almost from day one. That's the truth.
Yeah, and right here, got a big competition is Josh Pruitt. You see him come out of the hole and really put this one away early. And Jenny Moses will live to fight another day.
Josh Pruitt, if you're not very careful, you know, you're going to develop a bad reputation around here. If you're not out running Cynthia Phillips, it's Jenny Moses. You know, these women are going to take up arms against you sooner or later.
Yeah, I know. Don't say that. I don't want them coming after me. But
well, I'm just stating facts.
Yeah, I know. But racing's racing. I don't care if you're a man, female. I'm trying to beat you, whoever it is.
Hey, very true right there. True essence of a drag racer. B-Gas round number 1. Molly Motorsports stepping up again right here for B-Gas as we take a look at the points. T.J. York got a 30-point margin on Jerry Birch and Wayne Swafford as they both sit tied for second place right now. And look at Zach Hall in there at the 4th slot. Got to give him a lot of credit for that.
You do, David. This is by far, I think, Zach's best year in performance in rounds 1 and certainly point position. Right now, Papa's Wild Willie's, buddy. That is one cool hot rod. We love the old cars. Michael Walters, this thing is a good race car. He's a heck of a cool old guy. I enjoy talking with him. And over in the other lane, shaking, bacon, Troy Leitner and the Henry J.
My 2 favorite cars on the property, bar none, are these 2 cars.
You got to throw a 33 Willys in there something.
I like the 33 Willys, but these 2 cars, they're bright, they're colorful, and the drivers just make them that much better. The Shakin' Bacon and the Papa's Wild Willys, I love these 2 guys. And
2 elder gentlemen in the racing with us out here still living young, I got to tell you. You know, that is one of the things that I really love about our older drivers. They're living young. Troy Leitner's so young, he's going red.
Troy knew he had to go good against Walters right there because Walters has really improved the performance of that
Michael,
Willis.
my friend, it's good to finally get to talk to you down here. Good job, first round win.
I didn't know he red lighted.
You know now.
Well, it feels good to move around to the second round anyway.
Well, you know, we always love watching these old Willies and these kind of old bodies run. So, yeah, it's a pleasure for me to see you in second round. So, we'll look to talk to you again.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And speaking of Zach Hall, there he is in a Hall Chassis Engineering homegrown 55 Chevy. And Cox Race Engines underneath the hood right there for him. There's his dad, Ron, alongside. Going to be taking on a man that's coming back and racing some with us after taking care of his mother and father. That is Tim Bailey, our 2019 world champion in B-Gas from last year in that Alley Cat 2.
And Zach Hall with that mechanical fuel injected big block plate up under the hood of that 55, David. Listen to him, the RPM's going to come up. Drop the clutch, gone. Good drag race right here, David.
Sure is. The little car versus the bigger car. Tim Bailey looks to be streaking away in that Fox Performance motor he's got
Tim
under
Bailey,
the
we
hood.
meet again. You know, you just taking out Zach Hall over there. He's only number 5 in the points. He's been on a tear lately. Tim Bailey shows up and just puts him on the trailer.
Well, I knew he's always good on the tree, so, and he made sure he got in first, so I'd have to ease on in there and be ready. So he's a competitor. There's no question about that. He's always a good run.
Zach is certainly methodical in what he does. You know, he judges his competition. Unfortunately, he just didn't judge you enough. Look for you in the second round, Tim.
He and his dad are good folks, and it's always joy to race.
Speaking of more good folks right here, another 2 that you can't say enough about. Here's Art Copeland out of Buford, Georgia in that Kryptonite, the 41 Studebaker. Going to take on the youngest man in competition, 17-year-old Colby Welch out of Warsaw, Illinois in the Moonbeam, that 1965 Ranchero right there in the right lane.
You know, David, Colby is our youngest competitor out here, and I'm going to tell you, I don't really have much problem in saying one of the most impressive competitors we got. Him, his family, his mom, his dad, his sister. It is an absolute family venture, family effort, and I tell you, these guys have made rounds. They are a threat every time they pull to that starting line, and I tell you, this old Studebaker better get gone. I don't think it's going to happen. I believe Colby is going to take another one, David.
And
tell me one thing. How do you win a drag race?
I think you win them with an ET like that. I think you win with a lot of hard work, and I think you win with faith in God.
That's a whole lot of it, but you also win by winning the first round.
Yeah, you got to win the first round first, so.
Congratulations, Colby. We'll look for you in the second round and keep up that faith in God. It'll get you far in life.
All right, thank you.
All right, Sean McLemore in the foul bird right there, that Falcon. He's going to be in the left-hand lane. Going to be taking on another bird in the other lane. That is Jerry Birch in the free bird. Man that's already won 13 times in his Southeast Gasser career with them here. And that's going to be a tall order for McLemore out of Clinton, Tennessee.
And currently number 2 in the points, he is, David. You know, him and T.J. York got one heck of a battle going all year long. And he is en route to win the first round yet again. And as I just telling Kobe, you got to win that one.
T.J. York number 1, Jerry Birch number 2. Are we going to fluctuate that any today?
You'll see in 2 rounds.
You'll see in 2 rounds. Well, we'll be anxiously awaiting.
All right, good day.
There's Scott Butler right there out of Clinton, Tennessee. Now he has taken this 58 Morris Minor that's called the Little Varmint, and he has worked his hind end off on this thing, making that car absolutely handle as good as you could.
David, I don't even know where to start talking about Scott Butler. This car is one of those that you love to watch with your eyes closed, okay? I mean, what I mean by that is it's so exciting, but you just know something's going to happen. But hey, he keeps her between the guardrails, a heck of a job, and yes, he's got it doing extremely well.
But he's going to have do real well against Mike Blackwell. Mike Blackwell in the Smoking Sam takes that victory right there. And what a burnout in that 33 right there by Kelvin Cannon out of Elizabeth in Tennessee. Beautiful loose cannon car that you see backing up right there. He's going to be taking on the man right now in B-Gas, and that is T.J. York in the Greenhorn Hillbilly.
The old 33 Thames, I believe that thing was called, David. I always get them names a little bit confused and mixed up, but it is just the coolest of the cool race cars up against number 1 points leader all year long from race number 1, T.J. York. He has been the threat. He has been the poster child all year. Let's see what happens right here going down the racetrack. Can Kelvin pull it off?
I'm afraid he's not going to be able to. Too much horsepower under the hood for that Greenhorn Hillbilly. All right, a couple of great-looking cars. That Barracuda, Ray Fossil over there to Bustin' Loose out of Dandridge, Tennessee. He'll be in the right lane, and he's going to get the Dirt Man. Once again, Rick Varner, this is his B-Gas car that you alluded to earlier, Mitch. The Dirt Man out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, going to be in the left lane.
Yeah, it takes a sick-minded individual to own 3 Superstock cars and a B-Gas, David. But we love you, Rick, son. You're the man, and you must love riding them wheels stand down through there like 3, 4 of them things, and still winning the round.
Wheels standing high at least through 3rd gear.
Man, I just don't know how to drive this thing on the back wheels. It's like driving a tractor with brakes.
I was thinking to say, you may have to go to Lowe's or somewhere and get some training on how to drive a tow motor, rear steer.
I'm going to have to get some experience. Maybe one of them young guys will tell me how to do this.
Keep searching somebody, but you'll do fine until they come about. Good job, Rick.
Thank you, buddy.
See you in the second round.
Well, one thing about Rick Varner, he definitely enjoys drag racing. You can see it by the smile on his face.
Absolutely, he does, David, and we're honored to have you, Rick. Yes, we are, my friend.
All right, Lexington, South Carolina racer Jason Roberts right here in the Carolina Moon. Got a tall order if he's going to take out Leroy right here. That is none other than Wayne Swafford. Looks like Wayne Swafford said, good morning, good night.
So you brought the number 1 qualifying position right on down here, so you're just going to keep wreaking havoc.
Well, we're going to try. We're going to try to get to the very end here tonight and take one of them trophies home with us.
Well, step 1 to doing that is winning first round, so we'll look and see what happens in round 2.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Bill Rebels right there in the Black Betty. He's going to be taking on Alfred Adams out of Clover, South Carolina in the Rolling Deuces.
Bill Rebels is another one that has stepped up here in the last couple races. Okay, there's Einstein. Oh, I can't never call his name. Going red.
He always changes the name or something. But
we got one.
Finally got it, did you, brother?
I hope that's a good thing. I hope we're starting on a streak.
Maybe that'll be it. Maybe that's a good luck charm you're looking for. We'll look for you in the second round, Bill.
More soup under the hood.
Soup under the hood. That goes down the belly real nice. Here comes Daniel Haynes right here in the Patriot. That beautiful Falcon out of Holly Springs, South Carolina.
David, you know, him and his wife, Mary Beth, you know, the Patriot, and they bring such an American pride color to the Southeast Gasser Association. And Mary Beth, one of the hardest working backup girls up there for her husband, as well as a slew of other competitors. Up against the chicken bone, another Henry J.
Gary Smith, a local man right here out of Leesville, South Carolina. Don't know if he's got enough, but man, last year is a lot different than it was last year for him.
Daniel Haynes, the Patriot rides again, brother. Good job in round one. What you got for round number two?
Hopefully we got something good. That round wasn't real good. We blew the tires off in first gear, so we're going to have I don't know, we're about to make a little adjustment or something.
You might better go fix that.
She'll come back around.
All right, A-Gas round number one brought to you by Summit, the World Speed Shop, Summit Racing Equipment. Make sure you get that Summit app on your phone. Steve Davis sitting on top right now in our A-Gas points by 3 rounds over Kenneth Phillips, who holds a 2-round margin over Gabriel Burrow, who sits in that 3rd slot right now. As we
A-Gas competition for 2020 has seen a lot of record breaking with Leslie Horn and Steve Spenny, but none other. I'm going to call him the underdog, Gabriel Burrow and team Robbie Bird, Jack Mills. Boys, with the help of these two, or Gabriel with the help of these two guys and one John Causey, this Ford is stepping up to the pump, isn't it?
Yeah, it's finally come around and started to run. Took us a while, but it keeps chipping off every round, so we're happy with it.
What I'm talking about right here is the fact that Gabriel Burrow just ran a number that sets a new record in A-Gas, and all he got to do is go back it up, and if he can do so, this will be what you might call a Cinderella story on top of 2 past dominant events, of which he won 2 in a row, to the point to where Quayne Stott Founder put a bounty on him this morning. Gabriel, the pressure only heightens, my friend. What are you going to do with it?
I'm just going to drive the car and pretend like it don't exist, and we'll see if we can get us one more this week.
And there is the Southern Flyer right there in the left lane. He's going to have a bye run by virtue of being the #1 qualifier.
Being pulled in the laps by the lovely Katie, his girlfriend, and I tell you what, this hot rod, David, has made such a turnaround. Just listen to it.
Gabriel Burrow, Carolina Dragway may be your new favorite place. It won't be the first place you win a drag race, but it will be the first place you was #1 qualifier, as well as setting a new performance record in A-Gas competition.
I hated this racetrack from day one, but it's starting to redeem itself.
You know, there's good in all things, and I think you have found the good in Carolina Dragway. Congratulations, brother. We'll look for you in round 2.
Thanks, Mitch.
And Mitch thought you were able to catch up with John Causey, the builder of the Southern Flyer motor.
It's not just every day at any racing venue that you would find an icon in performance motorsport such as that of John Causey. John Causey, the owner of Causey Racing Engines, his history dates back to Pro Stock and beyond and before. Dino Don Nicholson, any of the great names in drag racing, especially under the Ford banner, John has been around in some way. As for me, my remembrances of John go back to the 80s, 90s, when the Ford shotgun, the Ford Boss 429 was coming about in Pro Stock, and none other than John Causey rewrote the performance records for a lot of notable guys in Pro Stock, John. It is an honor to have you out here at the Southeast Gassers event.
Well, thanks a lot. You know, I just have not been to a race all year. This is my first race this year, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving this race. This is like where I started, you know, clutch 4 speeds, a lot of noise, no torque converters, no limiters, just a real hard car to drive.
Well, that was Quayne's plan, to put the driver back in a race car, John, and thank you for touching on that, because that is so much the factor of Sega Southeast Gassers Association. But for you to comment that you've only been to 1 drag race this year, and this is it, that speaks volumes for us. I don't know about you, but for the Southeast Gassers Association, that's monumental. Now, John, obviously, Gabriel Burrow and Robbie Bird, they come staggering into your door one day. I don't know what they said to pique your interest, but, buddy, they must have, because you have made tremendous strides with an otherwise struggling team in the toughest category that Sega has to offer, and that being A-Gas, and doing it with a Ford.
Well, we really like working on these kind of small blocks, but we don't normally do it because honestly there's not a lot of money in it. You know, the bigger engines, you know, we have parts for them and stuff, but you know, I grew up working on these 351 Clevelands and stuff, and you know, we just really like working on a new project every once in a while. I wouldn't want a whole lot of these cars to work on,
But this has been a really good group to work with, and they're very talented, very good driver, and they started with some good stuff, and we just kind of focused on the parts that would make it run good, but we wanted to stay together. You just can't win here in with it not running. It has to last, and we tried to put together a plan for them that would make the engine last.
Well, it's no doubt. Gabriel has been to the finals, but he's never clinched that win. And he's had to do it with such inconsistencies because of the very fact you mentioned, he can't keep an engine together. Well, that's pretty much useless if you can't depend on it round for round. Not only have you brought performance to him that he didn't have, but you've brought a level of dependability that I think allows him to go out and focus on his racing now.
Well, we wanted to make sure that they had a good platform to race with, and it kept making run after run after run. So, we concentrated on those areas. But, for me, we've won a lot of different kinds of racing, but it doesn't really matter to me anymore. If it's this, it's like I was watching the video of Killcare a few weeks ago at home at night on a Saturday night, and I really had a little tear in my eye watching that final round, because I felt as good about that as years ago with a car winning Daytona or something. It was just especially being his first win and we were involved with it. It was great.
Well, I can tell you that it was a very emotional time for Gabriel and his team, and it was so well deserved. Gabriel is he's one of the drivers out here that I've labeled as a good driver, a great driver for that matter, very capable, but he has always raced at a deficit of parts and pieces. And to have you come along and do what you've done, it has certainly been an answer to their prayers. And I couldn't, again, we're honored to have you, John, but I will touch on one thing that you said. You're more interested in quality over quantity. And that speaks a lot, because I think that you have really made a standout in the fact of the Ford's NA gas. And then you make mention of the fact that your limits wasn't in drag racing. You also delved into NASCAR as well. So I think that you have retained everything you've ever learned about these old Fords.
Well, I've been doing this for 52 years building engines. So you learn a little bit along the way. Everything you work on, you learn something, even though, it's not all the same engines, but there's one thing out of one engine that carries over to another. A lot of it's dependability, but the big thing is what's important and what isn't. Because you only have so much time, and an engine's never really done. It's just good enough to leave. You know what I'm saying? It's like a race car. It's never done. It's just good enough, and you have to go race at the time.
Always room for improvement, always in drag racing in that way. And the final aspect of that is just that you have enhanced the performance or the competition at a Southeast Gassers Association event, and to that we're forever grateful. John, thank you once again.
No problem. I love this deal. Walking around here, I just had the greatest smile when I got out of my car and walked through here. But I've got one of my really good friends. He's racing dragsters and stuff, and they have to be anymore with those cars. They race those $100,000 races. You have to be a full-time guy that's all they do. And he's not going to probably win because he's my age, We're not quite as good on the tree. We're okay, but you're not going to do it 8 runs, okay? And he's really said, I'm not having any fun. Well, he's looking at buying one of these cars, and we're looking at working on it because even guys our age can come out here and have a great time and run them, and it probably won't break the bank. Not like, there's no electronics involved. There's no $30,000 shock absorbers. You know what I'm getting at?
Well, I like to say it this way, John. In this venue of drag racing, a racer's hard work is rewarded, not just his money.
Well, it's just this whole thing. You're right. It's just cool, and the work you guys have done here and bringing it from just a thought and a dream to this. This is more crowd than we see at a lot of the really big drag races. Some of the stuff we do. I mean, you can, he can really be proud of what he's done.
Well, he is. We are. As a whole, it's been a very humbling experience. To see its beginnings and where it started and where it's came to. But the thing that I think rewards it the most is just simply the fact that it gives us hope and it gives us trust that drag racing will be preserved in perpetuity, at least for a long time to come.
Oh, it's great. And, when I walk down through here or up on the starting line, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a lot of smiles.
Absolutely.
You go in the 500 Pro Stock pits once, go at an NHRA race, go through that pit area, and tell me how many people are smiling.
Nothing like you got here. And, John, you have brought smiles at least to one team. You may have brought frowns to all the others, but to one team, you've brought a very large smile. And with that, John, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Back to racing, David. You know, that was some tremendous words from a drag racing engine building icon of John Causey. If that doesn't give Southeast Gassers Association credibility, street cred as they call it, buddy, nothing ever will.
Well, coming up this next two right here often give that street credibility. Par race engines in the left lane for Todd Blackwell, you see there in the slingshot. And Dean Jonas, fabricator with TM Race Cars, Tommy Mooney in Spartanburg, South Carolina, sits in the right-hand lane. Good lead by both cars. What a drag
so we
race
got the
that
engine
was.
back, got the added horsepower back on it, and now I'm breaking loose. I got to find a way to control that.
Well, you know, for every action, there's a reaction, and you just found the reaction to mega horsepower. We'll look for you in round two, Todd.
Thank you, sir.
Speaking of that 33 Willis and a motor builder, right there he is, Rob Walden, in a car replicated of his father's. That 33 Willis R.L. Walden race team. He's going to take on Barry Lynn in the little red wagon, that 65 Chevelle wagon, two-door wagon, I might add to you, in the right lane.
Just a heck of a good-looking stage shot here, David. Two cool gasser cars, 33 Willis, 65 Chevelle wagon. I mean, it's a Southeast Gassers. Man, I tell you what, no matter who wins this race, it looks good.
That's a great drag race right there. Looks like Rob Walden takes the win.
Rob Walden, come out of that bad little hot rod, buddy. You know, round number one out of the way, taking out a heavy hitter back here like you did in that big old red wagon. What you got to say? How's the racetrack treating Mr. Walden in this hot rod today?
Well, I've had terrible tire shake all day, and it shook again, but it was the fastest pass the car ever made, so I'm happy to get past first round because it's been a tough year not getting past first round. So
I was just talking.
Excited.
Absolutely, brother. We're excited for you. I was just talking to Todd Blackwell, and he was talking about now that he's got his horsepower back, his cars are spinning and shaking. I said, you just found out the reaction to mega horsepower.
That's it. I was playing with mine, found a little more too, and that's what causes it, I believe. So.
Keep working at it. You'll get it, brother. We'll look for you in round two.
And here's another guy out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, Cumming, Georgia, where Tony Turner calls home. The 1939 Dodge called the Quick and Dirty. He's going to be running against the chic magnet. That is Leslie Horn out of Bowling Springs, South Carolina, with a big Gene Full Power underneath the hood there in that 55 Chevy.
You know, David, it seems today the word or phrase has been horsepower, and I'm curious how much is under the hood of this big old Dodge of Tony's, that big Hemi. You know, it has a problem, but in this race right here, boy, is Leslie Horn out and gone.
Yeah,
you know, you were so dominant in C gas, you moved to A gas. It ain't that you're not capable, it's just that it ain't all come together yet.
Yeah, all the dots ain't lined up. You know, all of them's got to line up. We talking about motor, clutch, driver, car. You can have whatever motor, whatever clutch, whatever. It's got to all come together, and it hadn't come together yet. We've had some really, really impressive times. We've turned a lot of really good times, but it's just when it comes race day, it's just hard for me to put them back to back. And
speaking of that, Gabriel Burrow just unseated you for the record right now.
He did just unseat me for the record, and I'm super, super proud of him. He's worked hard, very hard, probably as hard as anybody here. I'm glad to see him there, and I'm glad to see him there with a Ford, but old Chevrolet's going to go get it. Ford not so good.
I keep waiting to see that happen.
Thank you.
Speaking of waiting to see what happens, here's Ben Christopher right here in the right lane in that Happy Days car. He's looking to try to get that new car that he put together running well. He's going to take on Sam Gable right here in that 56 with another Rob Walden motor underneath the hood.
David, you know, Ben is one of those guys that gives you a win soon.
And there he takes a round win right there. Next up going to be Steve Spinny Davis. Guys leading our points right now. He's going to take on another one of those blue cars, and that is none other than J.T. Moses in that 56 in the right lane.
J.T., the husband of Jenny that we was talking about earlier, running that C-Gas Scream machine. You know, again, David, those two right there are just major supporters of Sega. They have done so much for us and with us. bring two beautiful cars, two good competitors, especially JT this year, man, as he steps up. This car can win at any time, but boy, has he got Goliath in that left lane for Steve Davis. Steve going red, David, and JT nearly crossing the center line. Oh boy, is this going to shake up that points battle?
It really is. It's going to shake it up big time, and everybody knows that it's needle
Number one points leader Steve Davis on the trailer at your hand. We was talking a little bit earlier today. Are you going to do something good? Buddy, did you just do something good?
Yeah, we tried to. I tried some theatrics up there on the start line. I knew how to do some song and dance and something like that, so medium red light. So,
hey, that's, you know, strategy and drag racing.
All right, here comes another big car, a 57 wagon right there. A Todd Oden pulling double duty. This is the double down. He's got a big giant that he's got a sleigh right here in the silver streak too of Kenneth Phillips, our 2019 world champion, who sits in the right-hand lane.
You know, David, we was talking about the epitome of what A-gas or gasser categories looked like a minute ago. Boy, here is another fine example. You can't get more classic than those two race cars sitting on the track right now. Wheels up, down the racetrack. Look like Todd having some issues. See fire coming out of the pipes about third gear, and Kenneth Phillips streaking on.
But he did
JT Moses may have just handed you the gift forever with Steve Davis going red.
Oh, the outrun? Oh, Steve went red. Oh, I didn't know that.
Steve Davis is only 3 rounds in front of you. You know what happens if you win the race today.
That'll put me right up there with him or past him, ain't?
That would put you past him because that'd be 4-round win. He's only got 3 advantage, so if you win, you pass.
Well, I'll get one more on him because I get a bye. So I'll get one more anyway.
Well, that's positive thinking for certain. But I would suggest you capitalize on the other 2.
Exactly. That's what I need to do. Thank you.
Won't find a smile bigger than that anywhere in the Southeast Gassers, and that's Kenneth Phillips.
That wraps up round number 1, David, the Southeast Gassers Association. And there is our schedule for the remainder of the year, Shelby, North Carolina, and Hope, Florida. David, Summit Racing Equipment, they have been a major sponsor of the Southeast Gassers this year, and buddy, have we been proud to have them. Napa Auto Parts, get Napa know-how, and we will look for you in round number 2 through the finals in our next installment of the Southeast Gassers Association Race Recap.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.